And just like that, we back. Guess what? Raise hell, baby. Raise hell. You already know. You already know. We coming away with the dub tonight against the Green Bay Packers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Extreme Mediocrity Sports Show. I'm Mike, and we got a great episode today where we're going to run through the Commanders versus Green Bay Packers, how those two teams should shape out. We already know my team is going to come out with a win, but let's dive into it. Let's go. All right, let's get into it. So, I think it's important for us to first look back at last week's game, Commanders versus Giants and Packers versus Lions. First, starting with the passing game, Commanders, JD5 had a pretty good game, threw for 19 of 30, 233 yards and one TD. And Jordan Love, he didn't do bad himself, had 16 of 22, 188 yards and a touchdown. These are two elite QBs going against each other. So nothing really surprising here. Should be a good battle between the two. Next, want to get into rushing. So Commanders really surprised me last week. I did not expect for our running game to look as good as it did. Our O-line really opened up some holes, and our running backs really was able to find some lanes and some creases and found some good yardage. Commanders with 32 carries, 222 yards, and two touchdowns, one by Deebo Samuels for a nice 20-yard run, and another by Bill Krosky Merritt with a nice cutback run to the right side, his first touchdown of the season. And going into the Packers game, they didn't run the ball so well. They had 25 carries, 78 yards. I'm sure tonight they're gonna want to establish that running game a lot better than what they did against the Lions. Seems like in that game everything was working for them though. Passing game was working off of the little running game that they did have, but really it was. Really started with their defense, creating turnovers and creating pressure and getting them the ball back in good field position. Next, going into third down conversions and first downs. We really want to see the Commanders improve that tonight. We were only 4 of 11 last week with a pretty good number of 25 first downs, but we definitely want to clean up those third down conversions because going against the Packers, we don't want to have 4 of 11 on third downs. We really want to capitalize on those and have some short distances on those third downs as well. And same goes for the Packers. Similar to us, they were only 4 of 10, but only 14 first downs. If they do have this similar number with us tonight, I do not expect for them to win this game. They cannot have that limited number of first downs and expect to compete and keep up with our high-powered offense. So look for them to try to improve on their third down conversions and first downs as well. Turnovers, that's going to be big for us this season. We did not get any turnovers in our first game against the Giants. We did get pressure on Russell Wilson, but didn't get any turnovers. We will need to have to work on that. Hopefully this week versus the Packers, but definitely going into the season, we do want to generate and create more turnovers going forward. And as for the Packers, they were able to generate one turnover, one interception. Michael Parsons did create a lot of pressure on Jared Goff last week, and they were able to come up with the interception last week. Just one turnover, though, for the Packers. All right. So next, we want to get into the tail of the tape. So we're going to talk about each team's record, some strengths, some weaknesses, and a player to watch from both teams just to spotlight for today's game. So first for record, we already know both teams started out 1-0. These are two Super Bowl contending teams. This game will really say a lot about both teams. This game will probably determine what team is really competing with the Philadelphia Eagles right now on who wants to be that top seed coming out of the NFC. So this game is a big one today in Lambeau Field. When it comes down to strengths and weaknesses were tough to pick from both teams. First week of the season, Commanders and Packers look great in all facets. Commanders look good offense, defense, and special teams, and Packers as well. But for strengths, I chose offense for the Commanders and D line for the Packers. So for the Commanders, the offense, everything starts and run through JD5. I feel like if he has a great game, if he sees the field well, if he's able to um, generate some runs when things aren't open, and help us complete some of those third downs. That is a big strength for us, especially since it is hard to keep up with our offense. So if we get off to a good start and our offense looks good, I think that will shape up nicely for my Commanders. And then for the Packers, their D line, I mean, we spoke about it at the end of the offseason when they picked up Micah Parsons. Their D line was already pretty good. They were good at stopping the run last season. And I feel like that was why they felt like they could get rid of that D tackle that they sent to the Cowboys for Micah Parsons. But we saw last week it didn't look like they missed a step in the run defense. They was able to stop the run against the Lions, limit that high-powered offense, but also generate some pressure on the quarterback. So that is a big strength for them. And again, you could pick multiple strengths for both teams because these are two juggernauts in the NFC. But I went with offense for Commanders and D line for Packers. Next, weaknesses. Again, tough to pick out weaknesses from both teams when in the first week of the season, both teams looked and played really well. But I did go with secondary for both. So as far as the Commander secondary, we kind of spoke about it at nauseum last season, but not so much this season. But it's still an area that we need to keep our eye on. We do have a rookie cornerback, Trey Amos, pretty well last week, but that was also due to our pressure that we applied on Russell Wilson. Some of those throws were errant, thrown out of bounds. So he'll really be tested today, going up against Jordan Love. Then we have Mikey Sammer still in the nickel spot, and then our safeties are pretty good. They play pretty well last week as well. We had Will Harris. He played really well. Came up with some good tackles last season. But then we also have Lattimore, who struggled last season. Played pretty good last week. Had a couple penalties, but played pretty good. So still a area that we need to keep our eye on going forward, especially into this game, playing against a better quarterback in Jordan Love. As far as the Packers, it was really tough to pick a weakness with them. Their offense is really good. I kind of battle between secondary and run game because even though they are usually pretty good and they want to try to establish the run, last week they didn't do a good job. But I think that their secondary is pretty good. But if they do not generate a good pass rush, that secondary could struggle, especially against Jaden Daniels. So in any other game, the secondary probably wouldn't be a weakness, but against Jaden Daniels, I did choose the Green Bay Packers secondary as a could be a weakness for them tonight going against Jaden Daniels. And as far as a player to watch from both teams, I feel like we kind of spoke about these two players already. Both players could really shift the trajectory of this game. One being a super competitive, hopefully future MVP player in JD5, and the next is All Pro Micah Parsons. Both players can really help their team get a win today. JD5, if he does what he normally does, doesn't commit any turnovers, really help our offense put points on the board. I see this game going our way. Same for Micah Parsons. I know he had 10 and a half sacks last season. and 4 of those sacks came against the Commanders. So we really need to figure him out tonight, help out on that right side as much as possible, if that may be chipping, um, any sliding the coverage. But we really need to just make sure that we always know where Parsons is at all times and not let him wreak havoc against our O line, because he could change the way that this game is turning out. Just by a couple plays, he can really change this game around. So we'll definitely have to keep eyes on him. But those are my players to watch for tonight's game. Keys to the game. So this we want to really focus on things we really need to do in order for us to come out with a win tonight against the Packers. First things first, we kind of spoke about it just now, keeping an eye on Micah Parsons. And that means Josh Connolly versus Micah Parsons. Josh Connolly did okay last week. He did, look like a rookie though on that right tackle spot, but we will definitely have to help him out a lot tonight going against Micah. Um, will need to slide the protection. We'll need to put another blocker over there. We'll need to Bates will need to help out. The running back will have to, get put a shoulder on them, a chip them as they run out of the backfield. So we'll definitely have to watch this matchup tonight. If Connolly can hold up, then it'll look pretty good for us tonight. But if he struggles and JD has to run around and kind of run for his life and make things happen, on his own, this game could be a lot closer than what we want it to be. So this is a huge matchup tonight: Josh Connolly versus Micah Parsons. Next, establishing the run. So we did this really well last week with 32 carries and 220 yards and 2 TDs. We will really want to start that up again, and we don't really want it to all come from Jaden Daniels. I know he had over 60 rushing yards last week, but we really want to get Bill Krosky-Merritt started a lot earlier than what we did last week. I think he really came in the third and fourth quarter and really ran the ball pretty well. But I know we started the ball game off with Eckler, who ran good as well. But that was a shock to see. I wasn't expecting to see our third down running back starting the game off as our RB1. So if we can kind of get Bill Krosky started a little earlier than he did last week, that will hopefully help out our running game, because he did show a lot last week with a lot of long runs, strong runs, hitting the creases. So establishing a run will help out our offense, because everything becomes easier when you can get that running game going. And next, applying pressure. So applying pressure, I say that, that's applying pressure on Love, but also just applying pressure to that offensive line for the Packers in general. And, I always like to see our D line just, applying pressure, but, applying pressure, but also stopping the run as they get to the quarterback. I don't, just want them to just clog up the holes and not, just try to stop the run. But, as they, clog up those holes, try to get to Love as well. We did a really good job of that last week against the New York Giants, but the Giants did have some O-line struggles and injuries going forward. So this will be big for us. Applying pressure on Love, not having him feel comfortable in the pocket. So that'll limit all of the explosive plays that the Packers could come up with this week. But also, while applying that pressure, also stopping the run as well. We saw last week that the Packers did not run the ball that well last week. So we want to have some the same type of defense for that as well, and not let them generate a lot of rushes for that offense. And last but not least, we have third down conversions. So this will be huge for us tonight. We kind of spoke about it a little earlier. We were only 4 of 11 on third downs. So we definitely want to see that get a little better and get above 50%, because 4 of 11 is not going to cut it against this Packers defense and Packers team in general, because we know we don't want to play from behind with this Packers team. We want to, stay with the lead, keep it close. If at the end JD has to create and make some magic, let him do what he do, but we don't want to really have to come from behind, pause, and really have to come in and have a comeback win. So we really need to work on that third down percentage, have that be at least 60-70%, and also complete those, get some of those first downs as well. We did pretty good with 25 last week. We want to stay around that number, and also Dan Quinn. When it comes to plays in general, I know he likes to get over 55 plays on offense a game, because that usually tends to be a number where we get a W whenever we do so. So those are just some numbers that we want to keep an eye on, making sure we complete those third downs, not getting in too many third and longs. We want to stay in those third and shorts, so that if it's a close game, possibly we can go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and convert those like we had a good success of doing last season. So third down percentage, third down conversions, completing those and getting first downs will be huge for tonight's game. And just like that, we back. Guess what? Raise hell, baby. Raise hell. You already know. We coming away with the dub tonight against the Green Bay Packers. Hey, cheers. I'm calling it early. Cheers. 2-0, Commanders. Can't wait for this one. Have your flags ready. Had to throw the burgundies on. We getting ready for the game. Cheers to a dub. And we out. Peace. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell so you can get the notification the next time we go live, next time we drop another episode. Cheers.